Hey, wasn't that the girl that burned? During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back and sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice, or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering every flank in case I might try to escape. Ugh. I feel a little offended, but I've been considering it. Yeah, after what they're trying to make you do, bro. Run! Run! Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on their guard. Wouldn't you be? What's with the escort? This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. The heck happened to my voice? In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to his cell. You kinda are. Nope, kinda. Wahaha, wahaha. I'm gonna play like sound clip of that video I saw. What's wrong, Hichan? Dot 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 dot. That's right. We're just going to play a game of Risk, remember? At least it's not Rust. I don't know, Misha. This all seems a little sinister to me. I start thinking that when we still sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. Yeah, they're that evil. That Batman. Be the heck of the Joker. But don't kill him. It's my personal punching bag. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still, for some reason, it just seems like it would be so plausible. I want to meet that burn victim girl. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? That's it? This makes you guys being so on top of me seem a little silly. That's not true, Hichan. Hichan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed. Threatened? I wasn't evil. Life is threatened. Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Of course. Okay, at least it's not to laugh. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's a very plain, sparsely decorated room, although it's quite large, maybe even a little larger than a classroom. Well, I haven't seen any adult themes yet. I'm confused. Like, if I expected something, because the game did have an option to turn it off, and I'm like, I wonder. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk I actually said the word right. Prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. They could at least put a potted plant in here or something, but the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early? No. What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today? Heh, you smug little... Yeah, That's right. Tap you on the head. You got it right. Good job. Here's $5. Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically. Ichan, let's play Risk. Again, not Rust. So, yay. I haven't played Rust, but a lot of people wanted me to because they think that would be like the kind of game for me. And I'm like, I watch a lot of people play it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to die so fast. Because I'd be a naked dude with a rock versus a fully clothed dude with a gun. I'd be dead easily. Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to. Ha ha ha. Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain to you while we set everything up. Oh great, I have to read rules. While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. You're gonna play this. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics of the somewhat vague and confusing tutorial. Oh my gosh, like a lot of video games I've played before. Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Whoosh. Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I tried to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from two fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention. Shi-chan wants you to know that you're taking too long to make a move. Shi-chan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council. Oh my gosh. I'll let you win this game if you still join. I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head was an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no! Shi-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who will spare your people if you Man, I can't speak words today. If you agree to join the student council. You're so competitive, Shi-chan. Shizune. Whatever. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous. Magnanimous? I actually got it right. Yeah, I remember seeing that word a while ago. She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed. So she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who in return signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index finger against her temples as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing. Oh wait, please slow down, Shi-chan. Shi-chan says you're going to lose. Tell her I will crush your world empire with my rebellion. Okay. What the? Oh, I love that face. That face. I could hug it. Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. She can't talk, but she knows how to act. She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't. It's likely that she's just trying to psych me out. Looking at the board again, I have a pretty good defense setup, and I'm not going to wreck it doing something reckless. A few turns later, I lose the game anyway. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration. Whoa! Hurrah! If she could speak, she'd probably be a Spartan. Wahaha! Hichan, you lost when you allowed me to take North America. You ain't getting us. No! I mean, Hichan, not me. Getting control of North America is ambitious because it provides a 5-army bonus, but you can attack it from 3 fronts, so you must defend them all. Okay, so I should have went aggressively. Fine. I thought you'd have more guts. How disappointing. Ambition, Hichan? Your play needs to be more daring. Ambition! Ambition! I was really excited that when you took South America, but then you switched to playing defensively just because you gained a small advantage. That's no good, Hichan. Can you stop reminding me of how bad my RTS skills are? You didn't have enough risk. And when you did, you didn't follow through. That's terrible, Hichan. Shut up! Damn. What's it to her if I play too carefully? There's no need to rub it in my face. Yeah, seriously. Scoop back a little? I wonder if you'd even be any good for the student council. What's this, reverse psychology? I guess I don't have to worry about joining or not in this case. Giving up just like that? I expected more of you. Seriously, is Shizune trying to taunt me into joining the council? Besides, I don't even want to join. It's only my 2nd day. I can't make that kind of commitment. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet, and those two, they're a little weird. Fine, I'll consider joining a council, but I want to take a look at the clubs before I decide. Really, Hichan? You're not just saying that to make us feel better? Yeah. Get off my back. I'm just not sure that I want to. Aww. Okay, Hichan, but we're not going to give up so easily. You said maybe. There's still a chance you'll come around. Come on. We could really have fun. We could play more Risk, and maybe one day you could beat me, unless we graduate before that. That doesn't make me feel any less reluctant about joining, you know. Wahaha! Surely you're not that horrible at board games. Maybe we could play a game you know then, to give you a handicap. Putting handicap in this kind of situation is not a good idea. I might have said that just to make you feel better after all. Aw, that's cold, Hichan. I take a glance at the clock on the wall and realize I spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be to determine whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall. It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Hichan. We think the library is open. It's on the 2nd floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is? No thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. When I fly the stairs up and I run into problems. The 2nd floor hallway is a carbon copy of the 3rd floor one. Wide, of course, and plain like only hallways can be. Problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. Yeah, seriously, mine's in the media center. It's weird. Well, it was when I was in high school. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside, and I can ask for directions no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on to the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school couldn't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. The door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep. Though it is much easier to open than I'd anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head ever further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek "hello" on my lips is quickly snatched away. Is that the girl that missing a finger? I don't remember. It says, "Not as I was expecting." I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently, having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. "Hello there. May I help you?" Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Aww. Aww. And don't just say I lost my man card. A guy can say aww. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi, sorry for intruding. I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpectedly, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her. The girl rests a teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That and the slight cloudiness to her eyes meant she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. She's blind. Because, she opened her eyes, but she didn't look at us. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air is relaxed. Confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yeah. I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers. Accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm not gonna get any of these last names. Satao? Pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. Man, I'm never gonna get anyone's names. Hisao. Boing. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whatever container she's pouring into. Seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct, quote-unquote correct, process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library, Shizune, some classmates tell me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with that means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with She gives a small giggle before settling down the teaspoon, slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she settles down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell is quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Hisao. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech of, oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes? Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi. I think I got that right. And is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the fox pass. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem in the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure, sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone. Many have come to terms with their conditions, a category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunch times. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join? The most popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunch times, the baseball club, and the book club in the room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if the school shares the same rules as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it is encouraged. Ah, good. That's a relief. I really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it as Lily does the same. As I look to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time does stand still. Huh? Time has gone quickly. Sorry? Right. She's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise to her. I guess she must have lost track of the time. Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. Oh no, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think about it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case. True, it's open until 6:30 during weekdays. A quick glance at my watch confirms I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking to you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you to where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing. It's all right. I was going to talk to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight rectangular cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together, we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, we pace carefully slow to match hers. My pace carefully slowed to match hers. We slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door for the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in.